After a tragedy, we return to Gachiakuta, episode 8. Back at the HQ, Ruto is sitting with his head down, clearly upset. A few seconds later, Engine comes in to sit beside Ruto to see what's wrong. And of course, it's because of what happened to Gris last episode. And man, Ruto is really hard on himself. He blames himself for yet again failing to help someone. Engine just sums us up perfectly. He knew what he signed up for. As for my favorite part, he didn't protect you because you're a spirit, but because he saw you as a kindred spirit who cares about objects and people equally. I didn't realize this, but indeed, Chris has sadly passed away. Engine tells Ruto, hey, go inside, pay Chris your respects. Bro, y'all think you're really funny out here trolling us? Okay, here is who saved Gris. Her name's Aisha Stilza. The cleaners only give her with a healing power. Her personality is the shy girl. Gris is just so great. He's giving his thanks to everyone. And this is really great because it kind of reassures Ruto. He's glad that Gris is still alive. Zonka changes the subject. Now the cleaners not only have to face these trash beasts, but now the raiders as well. And they have gotten some new info. Following that up, someone comes into the room. That raider mentioned a border. It suggests they must be doing research into the sphere. As we get a closer look at the man's face, Ruto asks, who's that? And we find out from Engine, this is the boss. Just like that, Ruto finally gets to meet the boss, Arca Corvus. Funny enough, Ruto was going to get kicked for just wanting information, but he's quickly got his footing, he saved people, and he has a really powerful power. So, he is fully welcomed to the cleaners. So pause for a second. Corvus tells Ruto to come to his room. He's got to change of clothes for him and some information. So we learn that this border they speak of is like the in-between crossing line that is the ground to the spear. And it's said that all who try to reach it die while crossing the border. Corvus also tells us a story that goes along with this. It's said that there's a woman who lives in the no man's land closest to the border. Once a traveler got lost in the no man's land, and the woman helped them. The traveler asked her, why do you live in a place like this? The woman replies, I'm watching the people who fall from above. The woman had lived there for many years watching. And then the woman said, there are those who come and go without dying. So with there being a chance, Ruto thinks to himself, if I can just track down one of those people that woman saw, maybe I'll be able to get back up. After all that, will you go or will you stay? Ruto responds, there's no way I'm not going. Engine just comes in and barges in to see that Ruto is in his cleaner's uniform. Okay, there is some mystery here. After coming back from the opening, we get to see Zonka clearly sweating, and he is watching as something is squeezing through this doorway. Whatever that thing was, it shoots out of the doorway, and we're took to this timestamp card that says 6 hours earlier. Ruto is forcefully trying to make his way to the no man's land to go and see the lady, but Folio is trying to stop him. Lucky enough, Engine is there and he speaks up. Ruto just stops all at once. You're just gonna run off without getting any info or knowing what you can do? At first I thought Engine was just gonna tell Ruto to give up and that was gonna be it. No, he actually is gonna tag along with him. But don't think this is just for Ruto's sakes. The cleaners have got plenty to gain as well by going to no man's land. Engine afterwards then reminds Ruto of the raiders, which Ruto asks a question, speaking of, how can those raider guys become givers? Engine says, not all people are good at heart. Not all people are capable of taking proper care of objects either. Some people seem good, but treat objects like shit. And some people seem bad, but treat certain objects well. A person's morality is irrelevant to whether they can become a giver. Of course, people who don't think highly of givers, sometimes referred to us as codependent. After hearing all that from Engine, we get to see Ruto's thoughts. All along, he's thought bad people didn't take care of their objects. Still, he hates them. It seems we won't be leaving on this trip today. Engine kind of leaves off and says, for today, you should probably relax. The thing is, Ruto is told to relax, but he doesn't know what to do. He's just bored out of his mind. Suddenly, with a surprise, Rio breaks through his door and says, I'm gonna show you around Cleaner HQ. Here's the training room. We've been here once. The dining hall. This is so random. The toilets. As Rito and Ruto talk, we kind of get to learn that Ruto's life down here is better than it was up there. Anyway, she asks about what he eats. Stuff like bread and soup is what he mentions, and then she says something about sweets, which are supposedly for rich people up there. And there's just something so magical about this face that Ruto is making, seeing these sweets for the first time ever. From Rio, we get to know there's a group of people on the ground called vendors, and they specialize in these sweets, and as Engine goes in, there is actually givers that are specialized in cooking them. Once Rudo tries one, he instantly becomes addicted. As Rudo is stuffing his face, someone comes up on him. They have a pacifier and this really odd haircut. They sit and just stare him down. Rudo then thinks to himself, oh, they're after all the sweets, which he has to kind of fight himself back, and he hands over this lollipop to them. Quickly, they jerk the lollipop out of Rudo's hand, put it in their mouth, and put out their hand to ask for more. Rudo asks, who's this brat? Suddenly, behind the pacifier wielder, a man says, hey dear, grabs them by the neck, sort of, and says, sorry. And we're now being shown another card, and now. Blanca is walking through the hallway, and he overhears Engine and Rio talking about Rudo and sweets. Blanca wonders what Rudo got into. He goes into that hallway, and at that moment, that's where we see something come through the doorway, and of course, it was really a fattened up Rudo that looks like Luffy. After a small pause, Rudo has lost all the weight, and now he's trying to use his power on an instrument. This is while Engine, Zonka, and Rio are watching. Sadly, he's unable to draw the power out of this knife, and he's just confused on why. Quickly, though, Zonka makes an observation and even has an idea. That Rudo is used to fixing up trash. If that's the basis of his powers, maybe he needs garbage. And so a pile of garbage is placed in front of Rudo, and he's going to see if something speaks to him. As he digs into the pile, he finds what seems to be a measuring square, and as he holds it, he activates his power. Just like that, it turns into whatever this is now. So in fact, we do get to know that Zonka was onto something, that only Rudo can use garbage to actually activate his power, which he is then told to make multiple weapons, and does the same with this teapot or kettle. And there is a reaction that Rudo has if he activates his power too many times, his nose starts to bleed. We actually get to learn something interesting from Engine. So, supposedly this reaction is from Rudo's gloves not being able to keep up. But, the longer he cares for his object, the more seasoned and superior an instrument becomes. So the term that he uses is quality, and whenever he improves it, it's called improving the quality. The better the quality, the more power it can bring to bear. Quality isn't everything in a fight. The experience and mindset of the user influences the form its ability take, which is really nice to hear. Now Zonka starts thinking about this after effect that Rudo is having. He says, wait, if he was caring for those gloves since he was a child, it should be really strong. But could it possibly be the series? Rudo is reminded of Gross's talisman that disappeared. The thing is, the current items that Rudo has changed, even whenever they go back, they stay in place. That's when Rio kind of makes the same guess that I did. Maybe it's a purpose-fulfilled type of thing. And so, Rudo's power to bring the worth of garbage and let them fulfill their purpose and lay them to rest. Rio talks again and questions the whole series thing. Rudo is sitting there thinking, maybe there's others just like it. And then Rio asks for the glove's name, which Rudo is like, wait, what? Naming an instrument is a pretty important part of the care. First up, we have Rio's The Ripper. Engine's very original funny name, Umbreaker. Of course, Zonka's lovely assist staff. Now things yet again switch up. Unfamiliar place, someone in front of a white TV screen it seems, and coming through a doorway is Jabber and Thuni. That's as we hear, we're back, boss. The boss just sort of starts yapping to himself, and something to kind of note that is worthy here is he says Vital Instrument Series. We get a look at an object with a similar emblem to Rudo's gloves, as this boss says the Watchmen series. Okay, I'm kind of confused by the conclusion of this episode. All we hear is Rudo. I don't know if it's the boss saying this, Regato, or even possibly the boss being his father at this moment. I have to get some insight on this, and I'm just excited to head back into this. Okay, this is a longer one, but I think it definitely deserved it. A lot to unpack. That conclusion was very unexpected. Rudo finally understands his power. We finally have met the boss, which is Corvus. Seems like a interesting fella. I sort of like him. Don't know how often we're gonna get to see him though. But still, thumbs up on that. Eventually, Rudo is gonna go on this adventure, and it looks like this is gonna be his like in-game goal ultimately, which is happening pretty soon. But I am guessing that he's gonna come into another obstacle, of course. But man, Man. Yeah, I wonder who was saying Rudo there at the end. And I'm sure we might start off the next episode with that, or Rudo comes up with a name for his gloves. This is an overall great episode. And the series, it's just metal. I love it. Really a love letter to sort of something similar to Bleach, and I don't know. It's just great. That's it. This is a great series. It's just metal. If I had to rate it, I'm gonna say it's a nice 9.4. I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on Gachiakuta episode 8. Hope you guys stay safe, and until next time, peace out, guys.